Hi everyone, I'm coming to you from a little different part of my studio today because I wanted to do a do-it-yourself project. This weekend I went out with my friend Jennifer and we went looking for some shelves. I needed a bunch of shelves for around the house to put up some of my toys and different collectibles and things. And we found this. And as you can see, like with most shelves you're going to find at a thrift store, I mean, they're not very expensive and they're very sturdy and well built, but they tend to be a bit chipped. They'll be poor paint jobs, and they usually have hearts or other types of scrolling on them. It's kind of unavoidable. It's part of them being dated. And you can actually take these and really easily just give them a coat of paint, mostly, and you end up with a really nice display. I'm going to paint this to specifically match a set of toys that I have that I want to put in it, and I'll show you guys how that goes. So the first thing you're going to need is a bowl of soapy water, and I just use a little bit of dish liquid, and a cloth, and a magic eraser. Now I like to use a magic eraser when I start, because for anything that's not heavily finished like this, it makes it really easy to paint over, because magic erasers, both because of the chemicals they have in them and because they have slight grit to them, they're like a really fine sandpaper. You're actually pre-sanding your piece without having to use sandpaper, so the new paint you put on will adhere a lot better. So it's always nice to use one of these. For a shelf that's been really heavily coated with lacquer or other finish, it's still good to go in with a magic eraser first, but you will have to sand again after. It's just the magic eraser will help loosen up the lacquer and take off the finish a little. So I'm just going over it with a cloth first, just to get off any dust and initial dust and dirt. And then I'm going to give it a good scrub with the magic eraser. Okay, so once you have your shelf clean, you're going to go ahead and paint it. Now, I've chosen two colors, black and green. This is just acrylic paint. If you have spray paint, I would recommend to go ahead and use spray paint. Spray paint usually is a lot faster and easier. Just block out the areas with painter's tape first that you don't want to get the opposite color. I'm just using acrylics because it's what I have, and also because I haven't quite mastered using spray paint yet. What I like to do is I like to start with the lighter color area and paint that a base coat white first, because it makes the color show up a lot brighter and pop a lot more with a lot less coats of paint. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and get to painting. Okay, so several hours and 4 coats of black paint later, and we've got a nice solid black, and all the parts that are going to go green, they're base coated white. So the last thing left to do now is paint this green. Alright, this is going to take a while. Once you get it all painted, the very last thing you're going to need to do is seal it. I like to use this Mod Podge sealer. It's acrylic based and it's a matte finish. I like this one best just because it's not heavy, and also once you finish it, if something happens and you need to do a touch-up, it's really easy to just paint over it and then reseal, and it looks absolutely seamless. It takes about 10 minutes to dry to the touch and 20 minutes to fully set. You'll want to do it outdoors. When you spray, you'll want to be at least a foot, so about 12 inches away from what you're spraying, just because otherwise it will clump up and glob and get all runny and weird. Before you start, you'll want to have a paper towel and just sort of hold it up and give a spray, just to make sure that it's spraying okay and it's not coming out in weird spurts, so that you'll get a nice even coat. I do recommend to do it outdoors, just because there is a bit of a smell. Even after you bring it in, maybe put it in your basement for a little while or something, or in a well-ventilated spot, just because it will smell for a little while after. But it doesn't take more than a couple hours for the smell to go out of it. So yeah, that's the last step. Once you get that all done, this is it. I'm really excited. This took me the entire day. So yeah, I can't wait to get this up on the wall. And as I said, it was painted to match a specific set of toys. This is the toys. This is Paranorman. I'm super happy about these because I got them at the dollar store. They're only $2.50 each. I looked them up online. They're normally between $10 and $24 Canadian, depending on which figure it was. So lots of times brand name stuff will end up at the dollar store just because there's been an error in the packaging or something like that. So I was really super happy to see these. They're really nicely sculpted and painted. There's a lot of attention to detail, and they look just like the figures in the movie. Paranorman is one of those movies that came out along with Coraline that really meant a lot to me, especially Paranorman's character, just because I really related to that, being the little kid who was into the weird stuff that people didn't really get, who was watching horror films and reading books all the time. So that was really struck a chord. So I'm super excited. I ended up finding 7 of the base 8 figures, so I'm only missing 1. It's Lemuel Spaulding is the missing one. There's 10 in total because there's 2 variants as well, but yeah, 7 of the base 8 is what I've got, and there's enough space on that shelf for all of them. So let's go hang this thing. Okay, our shelf is all hung up. And what I like to do when I'm putting up some more delicate figures, just so that they don't slide around as easily in case the shelf gets knocked, is cut some little felt squares. And these are the little mini dollar sheets of felt you can get from Michael's. And what I do is I measure them to be about a 1/16 smaller than the opening, just so that you get a really nice, tight, even fit on the shelf. And I've got all my figures lined up and ready to go. So this is a little bead, actually, that my friend Joanne gave me one year as part of a birthday present. And I'm just going to use that to finish off the top of the shelf here. Just to have this little guy poking out. So yeah, I was really happy to find these figures for such a good price. And the sculpt on them is just fantastic. Like, if you look at the detail. And the paint jobs are all really, really nice. Like, you can see the blush of his face. And on him, actually, the mask comes up. Oh. There we go. So you can show his face, too, if you wanted. This one was actually the least well done one, at least in terms of paint job. Like, his skin is not very well toned, and you can see the marks for the hands are a bit off, and there's not as much paint detailing. The sculpt is there and it's beautiful, but his paint job was a little lacking. Although I love, this isn't painted on, this is actual little holes, and then the inside rim is painted black to make his earrings. Like, yeah, some of the paint on that is just... Sorry, this is my first time having them open, so I'm still a bit blown away. The zombies, I will say, are more delicate. These figures are more sturdy. It was also a lot harder to snap the zombies in place, especially the tombstones. I'm not even sure how well the tombstones are going to hold, but I guess we'll see. And there we go, that's our little shelf. And there's still plenty of room up top where I could put some more figures on that upper level. And the 3 prongs here, I left that instead of detaching it because you could hang keychains or any of those small collectible toys that come on little strings. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and give it a thumbs up if you liked it. And you can check out my other video where I go through a shelf tour and show you guys what's on my regular shelves. And if you want to see more tutorials like this, just let me know. Have a great day, guys. Bye.